It's time to die.
I have experienced paranormal activity in my house. Fuck, did you guys hear this? Fucking movements opening. Oh.
It's way too many fake niggas. I'm tired of fake niggas. Sneak dissing, but be all in my face.
So I'm gonna get so much freaking dollars that you don't even know it. Ah!
Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to the 5th review for the month of Gorror, and this time I am taking a look at Tales from the Darkside, the movie, the anthology film based on the TV show, the old TV show. And this is a movie I actually watched when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it when I was a kid. I watched it every time it was on cable, which was, for some reason, a lot back in the early 2000s. And I absolutely dig the hell out of anthology films. I will watch any horror anthology film out there as long as they're tolerable. If it's like halfway through and I'm getting sick of it, I'll turn it off. I don't care, because there's some bad anthology movies out there. I almost shut off ABCs of Death. That's how bad that one was. But I probably won't be reviewing that one, maybe the sequel. But anyway, this one is a movie I grew up with. I absolutely love this film, but I just rewatched it today, and well, let's talk about it. A movie where it has 4 stories. You got the wraparound, and you got 3 regular stories, and then at the end, you got the wraparound that actually wraps everything up. So, let's talk about Tales from the Darkside, the movie. Alright, so the story for Tales from the Darkside, the movie, follows a little boy who was kidnapped by some cannibal woman. He's thrown into some jail cell with a book, and he's reading it. And before he's going to be cooked, and gutted and cooked and thrown into the oven, he starts telling this woman who's going to cook him and eat him about the random stories he's been reading from this book that she gave him. So the first one is Lot 249, which is a story about Steve Buscemi. He orders a mummy, and then the mummy comes alive and starts killing people like Christian Slater and Julianne Moore. So that's the story for that one. Then you have the second one, which is probably my favorite one, Cat from Hell, which is about an old man who has this cat who is just like the most evil cat you'll ever see. He's so evil. He's killed everybody he's known in his life. His sister, his friend, his like bodyguard or butler or something like that. He's killed everybody that he's known. So he orders a hitman to go and kill this cat while he's away. And this cat ain't taking shit. Let me tell you. And I love this story. I really do. Especially the ending. But, alright. So that's that one. Then the last one is Lover's Vow, starring James Remar, who I really like. I always like that guy. Who is a failing painter. He's a guy that he's an artist. He paints and all that stuff. But his stuff isn't selling anymore. And he's pretty much broke. But then when he's leaving a bar one day with his friend, a big, like, gargoyle demon-looking thing just shows up, kills his friend brutally, cuts off his arm, then slices his face, and then cuts off his head brutally. But then he runs away and then meets up with a woman who he comes to really like. Like, they just hit it off immediately, and they start to fall in love. And then he has to make sure never to tell anybody he's ever seen a demon. That's why he got away, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But because if he tells anybody about the demon will come back and kill him. But there you go. That's the stories of Tales from the Darkside. And of course, the last story is the wraparound story where you find out what happened to the boy who's been reading the stories. Now, let me tell you, this movie, all the little shorts, some are better than the others. Like I said, Cat from Hell, I really like. That's my favorite one. I really, really enjoy that one because it's a movie. I mean, it's a little short movie. It's very silly, very corny. I would say all the old actors, because there's a lot of flashbacks where you see how the cat killed a lot of the other people. They're very corny, very bad, I would say. The dialogue is very cheesy, but it fit very well with the movie and the tone of the actual story. It's about a cat that goes around killing people for no reason, really. He just does it. Like, I don't know. He makes people trip downstairs and break their necks. He startles someone while they're driving in a car, and the car flips around because he crashed, It's just Cat's a dick. He just does that. And the hitman, played by, oh my god, I can't remember his name. He's like a big rock star. But, look it up. But, here, I'll put it right here. There you go. I'll definitely do it. I'll definitely put it right here. But, anyway, the story is about him trying to kill this cat, and he just keeps on failing. And I won't say what happens at the end. Let's just say what happens at the end is so... Just like when I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, I'll never look at a cat again. I don't want to see that. And there's some really hilarious moments in this, but I would say the ending, the whole... And then if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I was just like, oh god. I was still going like, oh, that's rough. And the sounds and stuff. There's a lot of good parts in that movie. I mean, I really liked it. So Cat from Hell is my favorite. I would actually, if I had to score these individually, I would probably give that one like a 33 out of 40. Let's just say. So now my second favorite is Lover's Vow, which I thought was a really good one as well. James Remar, he's a failing painter, like I said. He leaves a bar. There's a gargoyle that shows up. A gargoyle demon-looking thing shows up, kills his friend, tells him, if you ever tell anybody that you saw me, I'm going to come back, I'm going to kill you. Don't know why he didn't just kill him too. I don't know why he had to kill the friend. I don't know. I guess he just picked that guy specifically. But, so, the gargoyle leaves, and he runs for his life. He meets up with a girl, and then his life becomes great after that. He meets up with the girl. They have kids. He's a successful painter after that. You know, he's actually painting the gargoyle that he saw, and somehow that's selling well. And then later on, I'm not gonna say what happens, but it gets violent. That one's probably the most violent of them all, I would say, because the guy gets his head cut off and then his arm cut off and stuff. I'd say that's probably the most violent of them all. And I really liked that one too. I thought it was really good. Thought the relationship between the guy and the woman was okay for the most part. It wasn't... You didn't have a whole movie to explore that, so it was decent. And it was definitely spooky. They did a good job of shooting on like the streets of I can't remember what it was, but I think it was like maybe New York City or something, and it looked grimy, it looked dusty, and they did a good job of showing the contrast between his life before and after the gargoyle. You know, before it sucked, it was all crappy looking, but after the gargoyle, his life became great and everything's all shiny and bright and stuff, and it's all good. So they did a good job with that. So I'm gonna give this one, I'm gonna give it a 30 out of 40. I really like it, but it's not as good as the Cat from Hell. I like that one a lot for some reason. And then the last one is the weakest one, but still a decent one, Lot 249, which has probably the most stars at the time, at least. You have Julianne Moore, you have Steve Buscemi, you have Christian Slater, and you have the Mummy, who isn't played by anybody. At least I don't think so. The Mummy comes back to life and starts killing people by using mummy tactics, like shoving a thing up someone's nose and then pulling out the brains. And I guess this is another thing mummies, like people do, the mummify people. They like rip open their back and shove flowers in there. I didn't know that, but there's a lot of really good kills in that one. It's not as violent. Like I said, someone gets their back ripped open, but it's not really that. It's violent, but it looks a little silly. They get their back slashed and they get flowers stuffed in there, but you don't see too much of that. So if you're coming for violence for this one, you're not going to get that. But it's a decent little spooky story. It's silly in the way that it's just kind of, it's not silly like ha 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 silly. It's more silly like, okay. That's just silly. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. But, yeah, this one isn't as good, but I still really liked it. I'd probably give this one, I'd give this one a 26 out of 40. Also, Steve Buscemi being crazy and reciting, like, Egyptian stuff is always fun to me. Always, like, he's done it before. He's done it all the time. Every movie he recites hieroglyphics and stuff, you know. That's what he does. But, and now the wraparound story. It's just a little wraparound story. It's kind of funny because the kid is not a great actor, but he's you know, he curses a couple times here and there. It's kind of funny like that. And also I really like the whole like throughout the wraparound story where they're talking about the stories and stuff, where he's like reading the stories, the woman's very nonchalant about like killing this kid. Like he's like, well, now I'm gonna have to gut you, I'm gonna have to rip out your entrails and then stuff you in the oven, and oh, it's 5 o'clock right now, if I don't get you in soon, then it's gonna be way too late and stuff. And I like the nonchalantness about her. I thought she was pretty funny. But besides that, this whole movie overall has a lot of really good moments. It's definitely not for everybody. If you see this and you hate it, I'm not going to be surprised. But me, I really like the goofiness of some of the stories. I like the violence. I like the overall just campiness of a lot of the things. Like Cat from Hell is my favorite, but there's a lot of campiness in there. Especially there's a car crash that is hilarious, and there's one part where the cat jumps onto someone's face and it's freaking hilarious. I loved it. But it's really funny. I couldn't stop laughing at that. I forgot about that, and I couldn't stop laughing. But besides that, it's a great film. I really enjoyed it for what it is. And I'll give it overall a 30 out of a 40. So, there you go. That's my review from Tales from the Darkside, the movie. I highly recommend it. And guess what? It's on Netflix. Go check it out. Thank you, and goodbye.